Welcome to Bedtime Myths and Mysteries!
Welcome back to Bedtime Myths and Mysteries. Tonight we descend beneath one of the busiest cities on Earth, into a second London few people ever see. Above the streets there is traffic, glass, light, and constant motion. But below the pavement, another city waits, older, darker, buried in layers of stone, ash, timber, and bone. Beneath modern London lie forgotten chambers, plague pits, sealed tunnels, Roman roads, crypts, wartime shelters, hidden rivers and corridors so old that no living person remembers why they were first made. The London most people know is only the surface. Modern London stands on the remains of Roman Londinium, founded nearly 2,000 years ago beside the Thames. The Romans built walls, forums, bathhouses, warehouses, temples, roads and drains with the confidence of empire. When those structures decayed, later generations rarely cleared them away. They built over them, fire-destroyed districts, rubble-filled streets. New roads rose higher than old ones. Medieval London buried Roman London. Georgian London buried medieval London. Victorian London buried them both. To walk through the capital today is to cross the roof of many dead cities, stacked one upon another. Every major excavation reminds people how little of London is truly known. Construction workers digging foundations for offices and rail lines have broken through into spaces untouched for centuries. Mosaic floors appear beneath parking garages. Timber walkways emerge from wet earth, still preserved by mud, coins, sandals, writing tablets, tools, and human remains surface where escalators and glass towers were meant to stand. One of the most famous discoveries was the Temple of Mithras, a Roman sanctuary uncovered beneath the financial district. For generations it slept in darkness, while commerce thundered overhead. Yet, archaeology explains only part of what lies below. London also built a hidden world deliberately. During the Second World War, deep shelters were carved into the earth to protect civilians during bombing raids. Secret communication tunnels were dug for government use. Railway sidings vanished behind locked doors. Utility passages multiplied beneath the streets until maps became fragmented and incomplete. Some chambers were abandoned after the war and sealed. Others changed purpose so many times that records blurred into contradiction. There are workers who speak of doors in maintenance corridors that lead nowhere marked. Staircases ending in bricked walls, iron rings set into stone beside passages absent from plans, rooms containing obsolete machinery no one claims. In a city this old, not every mystery requires the supernatural. Bureaucracy alone can bury truth as effectively as soil, but that does little to calm the imagination when you're standing underground, hearing distant knocks through walls no one should be behind. Then there are the plague pits. When disease tore through London, especially during outbreaks of bubonic plague, the dead arrived faster than the living could manage. Graves were dug quickly and deeply. Some were recorded carefully, others were marked loosely, then lost as districts changed. Modern engineering projects have repeatedly uncovered mass burial grounds beneath streets, markets, and stations. Imagine waiting for a train while beneath your feet rest hundreds who died in panic, prayer, fever, and silence. The city does not announce these layers. It simply carries on above them. London also hides rivers beneath itself. Streams that once ran openly became foul with waste as the city expanded, then were enclosed in brick tunnels and forgotten by most who live above them. The Fleet, the Walbrook, the Tyburn and others still move in darkness, flowing beneath roads, offices and homes. Water can sometimes be heard through drains or cellar walls, a reminder that the land beneath London was never fully conquered, only covered. Some of the most unsettling places are the crypts below churches. In earlier centuries, burial beneath sacred ground was a privilege if one could afford it. Coffins were stacked in vaults beneath chapels, sometimes densely enough that later caretakers struggled to manage the remains. Over time, many crypts were cleared, reorganized, sealed, or repurposed, but not all. There are still spaces under London where shelves of the dead lie in patient darkness while footsteps pass above during weddings, markets, lunches, and ordinary afternoons. Victorian engineers added another layer of legend. They tunneled aggressively, laying sewers, railways, gas lines and conduits through a city already packed with history. In doing so, they sometimes cut through cemeteries, foundations, wells and forgotten cellars. Reports survive of workers unnerved by bones in the clay, by preserved faces in coffins breached by accident, by rooms discovered and hastily reclosed, so progress could continue on schedule. London modernized itself by tunneling through memory. And because London is London, stories thrive wherever records thin out. Tales persist of sealed underground platforms where footsteps echo after service ends, of abandoned stations used for wartime storage and never fully emptied, of black doors in tunnel walls known only to maintenance staff, of lamplights seen where no power runs, of voices carried strangely through ventilation shafts. Some tales are embellishment, some are misheard machinery. Some may be inventions repeated until they feel true, but a city layered this deeply will always generate myths from the pressure below. Perhaps the greatest mystery is not what lies under London, but how much remains undiscovered. Every time foundations are dug deeper, another fragment appears, another wall, another burial ground, another room, another object last touched by hands long reduced to dust. The capital is not finished, it is still being uncovered one wound at a time. So if you ever walk through London late at night, when the streets are wet and the traffic has thinned, remember this. Beneath the wheels, beneath the drains, beneath the station steps and cellar doors, beneath the polished towers and warm pubs and glowing flats, older Londons wait in the dark. And perhaps that is why the city never truly sleeps, because underneath it, something is always awake. If you enjoyed tonight's descent into the hidden world below England's capital, subscribe to Bedtime Myths and Mysteries, where the past is never buried for long.